Hi guys, it's another week. My name is Martin. Welcome to Choir, and thanks for tuning in and continue supporting us as we make something out of this hobby. And today I'm excited because we have a nice topic, a really interesting topic that I think it's worth your while. But before we get to that, I just want to introduce some new faces that we have this week. Starting from my right, maybe you can just tell us your name, what course you study in, and yeah.
Hi, I'm Naomi Wandili. I'm pursuing law, here in Catholic University.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
And towards my right.
Hi, my name is Mary Deng and I'm pursuing business management.
Awesome. And the familiar face.
Hi, I'm Mansoor in Catholic University. Mnanijua.
Okay. So today we have a very interesting topic. It's called emotional intelligence. The reason why we picked this topic because it happened to me actually. I just happened to walk out of an emotional intelligence class while it's something I've never really done. Something that caught me by surprise. We just have different emotions. You're trying to. So I had an issue with the lecturer. I think there was a mix-up in communication. We had a group assignment, so we were allocated each one of us to have a group of two, where we were supposed to present work at the end of it. And so there was we were lost in communication. I was trying to argue my points out to my lecturer, and they weren't really giving me the ear. And somehow I just remember blacking out and just picking up my bag and walking out of class. So it was really shocking. It was really crazy for me to do that. I remember I was just thinking about it, the entire scenario, replaying it over my mind over and over before hata nifika home. I took a mat, went home to think about it, and yeah, so that's why we're really having this conversation, just to make sense of what happened. And is it really out of the ordinary for us human beings? We know we have different emotions and we react to them in a different way. So here we're trying to understand really how can we deal with them in a better way? How can we become more emotionally stable? Because we come from a system where 844, we're just talking about education, talking about grades. But when it comes to emotional intelligence, it's really something that is, not a priority, an afterthought. But now coming to university and actually having, throwing a fit at an emotional intelligence class, something has to be done, right? We have to really think about it. So yeah, I have my panelists here, the conversation, it's open. And maybe you guys can tell me, what do you think? Was I in the wrong walking out of class? Maybe could I have handled the situation any different? Ama ingekuaje?
For me, nafikiria your decision was somehow right, somehow wrong.
Okay.
Okay, tukitry to fit in your shoes, you are right. But according to logic, you are wrong. Atafikiria hiyo ni disrespect. Wakati uliamua walk out of the class, it was a bit maybe rudeness kiplani hivi, lakini wewe pia on your side ulikuwa na your reasons. So unajua watu wana respond to emotions differently.
Yeah.
Kuna mtu maybe akikuwa stressed ama akikasirika, kuna venye ana react. My friend here anaweza react in a different way. Mimi naweza react in a different way. So for example, mtu kama mimi ningekuwa class, then nimeingia hiyo class, nimekasirishwa hivyo, pia ninge walk out. And I think most students pia wangefanya hivyo. Msee anaweza walk out, anatoka tu hivyo, then anaenda. But sasa atafikiria ni rudeness. But unaweza fanya hivyo, alafu next utamtafuta, then ongea naye, sort the case.
Yeah.
Okay, on my side, I think you are right because each and every person has got his or her own personality. So maybe that's your way of handling your anger issues by walking out of the class. But at the same time, it's good after walking out of this class, itafika sometime the anger will fade, so you'll go back to the lecturer, talk to him na mwambie what he did was not good, na come up to a solution. Yeah, juu kama ingekuwa ni mimi though, venye ninge handle, mimi singe walk out of the class though, but I could have ninge switch off my mind, singe concentrate in that class because ningekuwa bored. Yeah, ingekuwa hard for me to put my concentration on what he's teaching. Yeah,
that makes sense. In your case then, what would you have done?
Okay, for me, if it were me, I know how to handle my, there's a way I handle my stuff. So if maybe I was angry at the lecturer, I won't show it. I'll just I'll continue with the class. But then I'm a straightforward person. After some time, I'll be like, either I'll call the leg or I'll look for a way to talk to the person, because that is something that will disturb me for a while. So I normally find it better, I air out. I talk to the person and then we see how we can maybe look for a way out.
Okay. But I was actually looking for the definition of emotional intelligence. So it simply means perceiving, understanding, and managing your own emotion, as well as for those around you. It's all about. So one of the factors that guys really we struggle with in our emotions is we try to suppress our emotions or try to ignore. So the general perception is that somebody who is emotionally strong is someone who doesn't really get affected by his emotions, or he finds a way to really, ignore them and just focus on whatever it is that is happening. And, and it's not really true, because we can't, our emotions are not like a switch button where we can just press on and off. Like right now, for example, you can hear there's a lion around, right? And just a lion broke loose and it's around the school vicinity. And you're thinking, the obvious thing is we can all get scared, right? Or if you hear there's an armed robbery or just something crazy, we can all get scared about it. And when you're nervous, it's hard to just switch from nervousness to happy. Like if I told you, okay, now you're nervous, right? You've just heard of the news. And then I tell you, relax. Don't be nervous. It doesn't really work out, right? Or you've ever had drama, people are fighting or there's high heated argument and someone is just trying to tell the other person, calm down, relax, what's the pressure? It doesn't really work. It's like even the opposite. It's like you're pouring water onto a burning flame and it just goes even more. Yeah. So I think, what do you guys think? Can we really ignore our emotions and feel like we can just get rid of it and become like AI, robots, automated?
But unajua Mati,
yeah,
it depends on the personality ya mtu. Maybe your example umetoa about ya kuwa nervous. Kuna maybe tuseme kuna maybe a wild animal ime come through hivi kwa school, alafu tunakuwa scared all of a sudden, na so tukikuwa hivyo scared, it's hard ku switch from your nervousness ndo rudi normal, unaona?
Yeah.
But kuna watu maybe tuseme hiyo lion imekam hivi, then apate some assurance, maybe tuseme KWS officer ametokea amesema hii lion ni harmless, haiwezi uma mtu ama haiwezi cause any harm. Kuna mtu ata calm down.
Yeah.
Hiyo anger ina fade away na anarudi tu kuwa sawa. But kuna mtu still amambiwa lion ni harmless, haiwezi fanya kitu, but kuna venye ataendelea kuwa mwoga, bado atapanic, unaona? So it just depends on the personality of, but how to change ni rare. Hatuko wengi sana, though I'm one of them, lakini hatuko wengi sana, very rare.
Yeah. True.
Okay. Mostly people react to different circumstances, So if I'm shocked, I'm in that situation, there's no way you'll tell me, calm down. My mind has already switched off, you see. So by the time you're trying to calm me down, it will take a while for me, to cooperate. Yeah, but then sometimes you just, your emotions can be stronger than.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It gets really harder to interpret them at the time and do something about it. I remember like when I was home and I was just thinking about the entire thing, what went wrong in class. I was still trying to argue out my points in my mind, because I felt like I wasn't given that space to really express myself. And I think maybe it's something with baby boomers or something like our parents and that generation. Like every time you want to really express yourself, to say, like to speak up generally, you're not trying to be confrontational or argumentative per se, but you're just trying to explain the situation. Every time you just get this shutting down, like they shut you down, they tell you, don't be argumentative with me, keep quiet. And I think that somehow exacerbates the matter. It makes it even feel like, it's like trying to suppress, like a volcano, right? It's about to really erupt and you're trying to suppress it by covering up the vents or something like that. Have you ever been in a situation where you feel like you've been, like somebody's putting a lead over you, that you're really trying to speak up and you're not getting the opportunity? Have you ever been in such a situation?
Yeah, for example, in a family meeting, maybe there is something, let me say they have accused you falsely, but just because you're a kid and they're grown-ups.
Yeah, true.
When you try to explain to them, they can't hear you because they believe in adults more than you. So hawezi kusikiza just because they're like, she's just a kid.
Yeah.
So unakuwa na yo low self-esteem, wezi speak out.
Yeah, very true. Masu, have you ever had a similar situation like that?
Yeah.
And umenyamazishwa tu.
I think it happens. Unawezapata mtu maybe amekufanyia kitu, but kwa sababu huwezi fanya kitu na relax tu. Like hapa Naomi amesema in a family maybe wamekuaccuse falsely and you can't speak out, like huwezi express, so you just have to keep quiet.
Unakubali tu makosa.
Wewe unakubali, like sasa for example unawezapata maybe kuna kitu imehappen, maybe mtu misplace remote, na for example kwa hiyo nyuma ndio kwanga the most notorious.
Yeah.
So they'll be, Mansuri remote ni wewe. Labda wewe ndio umenini remote, na labda juu amekuzoea with that behavior na huwezi express, huwezi jitetea, itabidi useme nakubali
makosa. Yeah. I think when I started feeling better about the situation is when I sat down and I thought, okay, ndasolvaje hii maneno, because imesha happen, and probably the lecturer pia by the time anafika back to the office ako like, okay, what just happened pia. So they are also in the same emotional roller coaster. And when I thought about now, how can I deal with it in a better way? How can I find a solution? So I got online and I found that to be emotionally strong means that you're just finding a positive way to express, to deal, to respond with these emotions that you have. So I made a plan, how I'm going to deal with it, plan A, B, C, and I actually started feeling better. And which brings me also to the next point is how much do we practice compassionate talk with ourselves? Like, you messed up, right? Or you just have to be humble and, just eat the humble pie. Maybe it's not you, but so on this case, let's talk about, you messed up, right? And I was reading that article. It was, somebody was just saying, kuwa mpole, the same way like if Dan came to me or Mansu came to me and told me, you know what, Martin, I think I messed up. I was supposed to do something, I didn't do it, and now I'm facing the consequences. And the person was like, how would you, as a friend, talk to them? How would you assure them? See, you'll be nice, right? Yeah. I wouldn't, if Mansu wants to commit suicide tomorrow, I wouldn't tell him, yo, now stay, but I don't, I'll be like, come on, man. Exactly. I will come on, man. We love you. You're so important and everything. I'll try to be nice to you. And that is what he emphasizes, because most of the time we're very toxic with ourselves. We really don't give ourselves much credit. We don't cut. We we just keep on pounding on ourselves. Do you guys have that? Do you like have compassionate talk when you feel like you've messed up? Do you give yourself an allowance and say, you know, I'm just a kid, or I'm just learning, I'm a student? How do you guys, or Yinile, you're very hard on yourself?
Okay, to me, when I know I've messed up, you know, most of the times I'll sit down, you know, I try to find a solution. If maybe I did something wrong to someone, it will take time for me to talk to that person, but eventually I'll find a way and I'll talk to that person. And sometimes you just have to, you know, you accept that you're on the wrong.
Yeah.
So that, you know, you create a rapport with the person that you're in, the situation with, you see, because sometimes, you know, we don't know what's ahead of us, you see. So like you have to make a good relationship with that person, because you don't know, that person can be helpful in the future.
In the future, right?
Yeah. So that's why sometimes when I make mistakes, I'll be like, you know, I have to find a way out, because it's not good to be, you know.
Have you ever like personally apologized to someone after wronging them?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I do apologize.
Manso, have you ever apologized?
Very, very many times.
Okay, I'm surprised.
Mimi nakwanga apologetic.
Have you ever apologized?
Yeah, many times.
I mean, isn't it hard to like apologize or something? Because I know like in Kenya, politicians.
Martin, you know, at times it depends. Kuna kitu unaweza fanyia mtu hadi uone useme yeye na hapo hivi. I was almost to be a devil. Like unaweza fanyia mtu kitu mbaya hadi wewe mwenyewe uone tu
Una feel guilty.
Unalimkosea.
Yeah.
Like una feel guilty. So ukifika at that point maybe unaweza reach out, unaweza mcall, unaweza mtext ama unaweza meet naye. Okay, ukimtext mwambie for a meetup, huyo mtu maybe anaweza akataa. So utatuma message tu hata kiziblotik ni sawa.
Sawa, bora umetuma.
Wewe bora umenini like sometimes it's good to speak out. Una apologize maybe kama umekosea mtu ama mtu amekosea, try to talk. But kuna some weird creatures, not creatures, human beings. Human beings like unaweza pata mtu amekosa ama amekosewa, but atanyamaza tu na uwezi jua. Hata kwambia na mtendelea tu, but amekukasirikia. Na mnacheka naye, but amekukasirikia. So
it's very important, yeah,
it's very important to communicate. Like unaambia mtu, you air out your
You know what I was thinking about after walking out is the first step. I think I called you and I was like, how do you go about dropping a unit?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I was like, I'm done. You know, like this thing, I'm done with it. Let me just find a way to drop a unit. And then I just stopped myself because I thought, wait, what if I just meet the same lecturer the next semester, right? I mean, eventually I'll have to deal with that emotional roller coaster. Like I have to face it head on. And I think apologizing is part of it. And it's really important.
Yeah, you have to apologize because, you know, actually, I believe that apologizing sets you free. Like you won't feel that guilt.
Yeah.
And what if you apologize and the person throws it at your face?
It doesn't matter as long as you've tried apologizing. You've apologized.
Yeah.
Like
You've done your part.
As long as you make step,
Done
you're
your
good
part.
to go. Like hutakuwa na guilt. At least utajua uli make some impact, but the other party akakataa.
In fact, the other party ndo atakuwa sasa atakuwa okay.
Okay. So yeah, apologizing is important. And
by the way, it's been like it's been long. So have you spoken to the lecturer? Are you guys in good terms?
I mean, I'm yet to like, we have a class coming up, and I think from what I'm getting from you guys, it's important to try and reach out. I think prior to the class, which can be better, right?
Yeah, it can be better if you apologize. Ukidecide drop the unit, for example, may drop the unit, unaweza fikiria umeondokea like but next semester boom, Mungu naye ni nani?
Unapatana.
Uko na yeye bado.
Mnadeal na the same thing.
Leo ukipatana na yeye unajua leo kuna lecturers wengine who hold grudge. For example, vile uli walk out hivyo aka feel maybe embarrassed alafu akakumaka. So next semester tena uko na yeye. Uta drop ama huwezi drop. Tena utaendelea ama tu ukidecide ku drop. Maybe your university yeye peke yake ndo anatake your unit. So una drop tena next semester uko na yeye. Sasa itabidi umeapologize tu juu. That's the only option.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you should know that running away is always not the solution.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and I think, okay, the third pillar I was looking at for emotional intelligence was really like, you have to base your decisions on values rather than emotions, because emotions can lead you astray just as much as they can lead you on the right path. But so this is what the author was saying. If I want to exercise, I have to base it on values. I have to know why I'm exercising, the benefits of exercising, or even saving, right? I have to know why it's important to save. That's why it will lead me to continue to saving. So imagine if we were just doing it based on our emotions, our impulses, like, hii wiki manze na feel si need ku exercise, yani si need hata kutoka kwa hao, I'm feeling sluggish, I'm feeling tired. So that is basing your emotions, basing your decisions based on your emotions. But when you base your decisions on your principles, on the values, it really helps. Anyone who has kept up to a routine that sometimes they feel like, man, the emotions are just telling you something else.
Okay, for instance, for example, we've got a class at 8. So unaona maybe you slept late, so kuamka unaanza kufeel that dizzy na ile alarm imeshakuamsha already.
You keep snoozing.
Yeah, you keep unaongeza 5 minutes, but sometimes huwezi enda na emotions just because you feel weak, you don't feel like going to school, but una remember once ukikosa kwenda that class, there's some things you'll miss. And the reason as to why you go because you want to achieve something. So all you have to do is just to wake up. Unaachana na mambo na emotions, una keep aside your laziness. You just wake up and go.
Is it that
Steady na emotion, like wezi amua tu eti utakuwa unafuata your emotions ndo unazitumia maybe your guidelines in your life. Like for example, tuseme kuna siku utaamka umekasirika na inafaa uende job, ama tuseme for instance, let's use our case, inafaa uende class. Wewe umeamka umekasirika na unasema juu labda your emotions zinakuguide usiende class, then unaamua usiende. Like me naona it's not the right way, kwa sababu ukikosa kwenda class you'll be punished automatically. So in life inafaa tufuate some routine, some values maybe zimewekwa kwa shule. Tuseme kwa shule inafaa ufuate ni za shule, so tusitumie our emotions in large part of our life. Emotions tumia 5%. Mimi wanaambia watu emotions tumia kwa mapenzi ama kwa love relationship, but usiweke in easy activities serious kama education nini hizo. Usiweke hapo emotions weka kwa mapenzi huko.
But is it always that easy? Because nakumbuka tunafaa kwa tuna keep up na gym. And some
gym sasa ukikuja kwa gym na it's another scenario. Like gym unajua unaenda leo gym chape some exercise, then utafeel umechoka, next day pia utaamka uone useme sijisikii.
Yeah.
So hapo emotions zina apply, like unaweza choka bila muone likasirishwa na mavitu zilifanyika kwa gym, maybe ulifinywa na kidole, ile chuma ilikuamkika kufinya. So hizo like utakuwa sad, utasema ni mambo gani tena. So hapo hivyo unaweza cheza kiwewe, unaweza mwa hata unaweza sare, unaweza acha.
Yeah.
Like for me, I was supposed to join basketball, the one month, the other field.
Yeah.
And I think my emotions were like, I'll go next time. But I only attended that place once. And the coach, he normally tells me, where are you doing? I'm like, I'm coming. But up to now, I think I only went there for like only once.
Yeah.
And I think a month is almost done. and have it got. And I think I feel like I'm done. I don't want to go there. Yeah.
So you make up decision like quit through basketball you.
I won't say quitting, but I feel like I don't have that time, you know, there's so many things
to do, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we all face it. I mean,
It's life.
yeah, that's why the author was saying, like, now when you're faced with such a scenario, you have to look at why you joined the basketball team and what you stand to gain from like being there and practicing. Because once we let our emotions run amok, and like we'll never really do anything, because like we get moody sometimes, our emotions fluctuate, like the markets, you know, the economy, and so we have to base it on why we are doing it. Because even if for school, some of us would have quit a long time ago, why it not for the reason of like school fees you're paying and what you stand to gain once you have that paper, right? And which brings us to the last pillar, where we have to speak up. You have to find an outlet to speak up, to like respond to those negative emotions in a positive way, that you don't have to deal with the same fire, right? So for me, like personally, I find this podcast therapeutic, and I'm really grateful for you guys to be here to talk about it, because it helps me think, you know, not to be so hard on myself. You guys were nice, maybe extra nice, maybe ni cameras, and then outside you'll tell me, well, you know, I don't know, but you guys were nice, and it feels like you have to have that openness where you can at least express yourself and argue out your points, and also, you know, to just be surrounded by people who can talk some sense to you, and also find a platform to speak up. So how do you deal with it?
So okay, like tukisema kwa hapo the point of speak up.
Yeah.
Unasema speak up.
Yeah, speaking up.
Speaking up. So for me, I'm talkative.
Okay.
That's my nature. Okay. So definitely mimi napenda watu wenye wana speak up, unaona? Like you speak. Juu mimi naongea pia wewe ongea.
Yeah.
Like tukifanyana vitu, like you communicate. For example, nimekufanyia kitu nini ama you have any comments about my dressing, anything, maybe hapa kwa kamera tumefanya kitu haija kuna nice, maybe so utakuja una speak up, like unaongea tu. Juu mimi napenda watu wanaongea, tukiongea tunafurahia.
And I think it's important because you remember what Alan told us. Sometimes we find different ways of speaking up. Right? You can write a book. Do you have like a diary where you record your emotions or whatever happened in a day? Some of you do. Do you have a diary, or how do you express yourself sometimes?
I don't have a diary.
Okay.
I don't have anywhere to write. I just, you know, I think everything is always on my mind, and some I keep them to my heart, and I don't have time to like. I find it writing down, and I left it. That was like when I was very young, and now as I'm growing, I'm finding other new ways of dealing with, you know, this serious stuff rather than writing. Yeah.
According to scholars husema there is power in writing. Tumekuwa na Alan ametuambia yeye akikuwa na kitu anaandika. Then anasema hapa hivi yani mind true. Pia mimi sipendi kuandika sana. So nitatumia tu mind, like nikikuwa na kitu I won't write down. Maybe nita keep in mind. Nikisahau pia ni sawa. Pia kuna watu wana kwa WhatsApp maybe amejisave. Ama tutumie example ya Snapchat, kuna AI pale mtu anajiongelesha and so mtu anaweza maybe akitaka kukumbuka kitu atajitext hapo WhatsApp, then anapin tamkumbusha, ama Snapchat atajitext pale my AI atakuwa anakumbukia hapo hivyo.
Yeah.
So it depends, but for me writing and all those WhatsApp, Snapchat in my mind too.
Yeah. You prefer like open talk like this?
Open talk like this, like vile tumekaa tu then tunaongea like.
Me on my side wanna prefer kuandika kwa notebook ya phone.
Okay.
Yeah, my phone, so I'll just go almost and niandike tu on my phone.
Yeah, so we all have like different ways of expressing ourselves. So the bottom line is atufai like to bottle up, you know, like try to jam it down, cover it up, contain our emotions, because ndio unapata, some people, they can't really constructively deal with their emotions. Mtu amekasirishwa, on the other side anawaletea on this side, right?
It happens.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens, but akasikia vibaya na huko.
Yeah, it's a way of expressing your emotion. So they haven't found really an adequate way or a better way to express how they feel. So it just comes out. And I think, like for us, the reason why even ukiangalia shule, emotional intelligence wasn't really emphasized, because it wasn't really a priority. Even for our parents, I mean, that's why it's really hard. I think for this generation, it's currently like more open, where we have even Gen Zs, and guys, the baby boomers are really complaining about Gen Zs, the way they just are open. They can tell you how they feel and they don't really care, right? So these guys are dealing with that, and it's really like not something they expected. So I think, as opposed to like trying to continue emotions, you should find a proper way to express them, a positive way. Yeah. So don't think about like you're so good that you can ignore your emotions, because you can never really ignore your emotions. And it's like a mirror. At the end of the day, you have to stand before the mirror in front of you, and you have to look at yourself and ask yourself, okay, how can I change? How can I be a better person? How can I deal with what I'm going to deal with? Like for me, the moment we're done with this podcast, like this is something I'm going to have to think about, because we're having that class tomorrow where I walked out, and I don't know how it's going to really happen. Maybe in Ndambiwa, the same way you walked out, you can continue walking out until you find yourself out of school, right? So this is something I have to deal with, and I have to face it head on. Yeah, and I'm hoping some of you may walk out of class. Some of you have thought about dropping units, and I hope this really can help you, because if you're in a school setting like us, then this is something that can really be of much help. So I don't know if you guys have any closing statements.
So any closing statement ningependa kusema, like these emotions, like they are there in life na hatuwezi ziondokea. So like inafaa watu tufunzwe how to handle our emotions.
Yeah.
Like hadi saizi I think kuna units in university about emotional intelligence, like za funza watu about how to handle.
Hiyo unit ndo naifanya sasa.
Yeah. So inafaa like maybe ikuwe na wide coverage, hata kwa TV shows kukue and something about emotion. Definitely sijui kama ziko, but I think ningesuggest pia zikuwe, ama zikiwa pia watu wakuwa wanafuatilia about the emotion. Ama pia siku moja si hapa tunaweza more as the panelist, tunatembea in classes tukifunza watu about emotions and all that. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good thought. Then do you have any?
I would just like to say we should learn how to handle our emotions so that we won't affect those who are around us. Yeah.
Okay, on my side, we should handle our emotions, na if it's not good to contain it. Kama mtu amekasirisha, it's just go tell him or her what you did was wrong, na either aki-apologize, it's good, and ama kama umekosea mtu, it's good pia unaenda una-apologize, at least una feel free.
Awesome. Yeah, you've heard it from Kwea. Thanks guys for joining, and see you next week, God willing. It's bye from us.